Welcome to Heart, where we take welcome. Blah, 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 blah. Trying to do an intro, it's really hard. Welcome to Heart, where we take a look at games and movies, young and old. And today we're taking a look at the movie Weird, the Al Yankovic story. I want to say Weird Al because it's Weird Al. This movie was quite interesting because it was actually better than I thought it would be, and I thought it would be good. Like, I already loved the idea of this movie. It's a movie about Weird Al. Like, I love Weird Al. If you don't know who Weird Al is, he's about a parody artist who would take famous songs, change the lyrics to them, and he was extremely famous in the 80s, 90s, and had like a resurgence in the early YouTube, like 2000s, with some of his older songs being put on the internet, and then him coming out with some other bangers like White and Nerdy. That's like kind of where I know him from, that age of Weird Al. I think what really explains the movie perfectly is the very first sentence of the About movie. And I'm just going to read the first sentence and that's it. The unexaggerated true story about the greatest musician of our time. And they lean into that so hard. And I honestly thought it worked really well. This movie had like an $8 million budget, and I feel like most of it had to go to the cast because the amount of people in this movie are like mainly cameos is insane. There are so many. The cast is huge. There are so many people in this movie. But it's even funnier because it's like everyone in this movie is a real person. It's like people playing those real people. Like they have this party scene where it's just a bunch of famous people, and it's not famous people playing themselves. It's famous, very recognizable famous people playing another really famous person. So it's like a double cameo, but how that works towards the story, everyone is like a much exaggerated, over exaggerated version of that person. Is just, it's so funny. It works so well. I don't want to name any specific people who are in the movie because it was pretty fun to just see or hear, a radio host and go, oh, that's, you kind of know who it is. Or you recognize it from a show or something. The main character is Weird Al. It's played by Daniel Radcliffe. Does a fantastic job. And his mentor, which is like a musician that he really loves, who's a real musician, Dr. Demento. And he's played by Ray. The combo these guys got going works so well. And how the movie plays out, with how all the characters interact with each other. The whole movie in itself is a parody about these exact movies. So let's take, I don't know, like Bohemian Rhapsody. It's a whole movie about Freddie Mercury and Queen, and it has like this whole serious tone to it. This is basically the same thing, how it's about, this person and their music career and their hardships they had to overcome towards it. But it's all so insanely over-exaggerated, and they address that it's insanely over-exaggerated. There's even a part at the beginning where young Al, he wants to be weird, and he wants to do what he wants to do and play the accordion, but his parents, they don't want him to do that. And his mom, they're at the dinner table, she just straight up says to him, honey, your father and I, we've been talking, and we think it's best for you just to not do what you love and just not be who you are. It's like, holy crap. The tone of it is so good. Because obviously that's not how it went. Well, I mean, I guess that could be how it went down, but it's just so clearly not how it went down. Like, his family treated the accordion like it was the actual devil's instrument. Like, such a good way to start the movie. It's like a great way to set the tone. Because it's modeled like these are all true events, and they're just not. Like, they're mostly not. Well, oh my God. It was just an incredibly fun movie. And the fact that Weird Al's whole career is making parody songs, and then this movie in itself is a parody of other movies, it just is so perfect. You're like, this is just so Weird Al. And he's in the movie. He plays a character in the movie. And the character that he played is, yes, this is perfect. This movie does not take itself seriously at any point. It was just very refreshing to watch a movie that you could just watch and enjoy and have fun. And at the end of it, it was just, you didn't have to have any crazy self-reflection or anything like that. I don't know if that sounds weird. Like, it wasn't like a deep movie. It just was a genuinely enjoyable ride from start to finish. And the story is about where he started from in his rising career and everything. But it's so over exaggerated that I have no idea if any of it's real. The only real thing about it is that he has, like, if there's a character in it who you're like, oh, you know who these people are, because he's like, oh, it's like Taylor Swift or whoever, even though Taylor Swift's not in this movie, spoiler. It's in the 80s, so a lot of big 80s stars. And though he may have met those people, his relationship with those people may have not been so extensive as they are in the movie, or so personal as they are in the movie. And it's kind of funny knowing that Weird Al in real life met some celebrity backstage one time, and then he makes a movie about himself, and that celebrity's just like one of the main characters. He's like, I don't actually know this person, but it's just like a main character in my movie. It was just such a fun movie. I don't even know what else to say. I don't have really. My main complaint is that it's on the Roku channel. I don't think there's anywhere else to watch it aside from just straight up or watching it through clips on TikTok, I guess, which is like some meta now. But I was only able to watch it because I have a Roku. So I was able to access Roku channels, which is free via Roku. This is not an ad for Roku, but it's just, that's the only way to watch it. And it's kind of annoying. And what was very weirdly nostalgic was about every 20 minutes, 25 minutes, there was a 1 minute and 11 second, well, two commercials, but they lasted over a minute and 11 seconds. And that was odd. I didn't hate it, weirdly enough. For me, that is in the sweet spot where that commercials and stuff during a movie are nostalgic for me, especially at the times where the commercials were put in the movie. It almost fit. And almost like that transition fit because it was funny and it made sense to the movie. And then you're like, oh, it's just a actual commercial. So I feel like they may have made the movie knowing that it would be on Roku, that they would have to cut to commercials every X amount of time. That's kind of, I didn't think about that till right now, but that would be interesting. But that's still kind of a complaint because this movie deserves to be seen by everyone. It should be on multiple platforms, and the fact that it's only on one is really, really disappointing. That's more towards like the viewing experience of the movie, is that if you're gonna watch this movie, there's a pretty good chance there's gonna be ads on it just because it's mainly on Roku. Overall, I loved this movie. This one chunk of the movie is extremely goofy, but I just honestly, I embraced it and I rolled with it and I enjoyed it. That might not be for everyone. That could end up being a negative for you when you watch it, but for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it. That's why I can comfortably give Weird, the Al Yankovic story, an 8 out of 10, a nice juicy health bar, because I genuinely enjoyed it. It was such a fun movie. And if you like Weird Al or know Weird Al, you'll definitely enjoy it. And even my friend who watched it, she had no idea who Weird Al was. She was still laughing for a good amount of the movie. So yeah, 8 out of 10 hearts. That's looking really good. Would definitely recommend, and I actually think I'd watch again. If you like this video, you should subscribe to my channel where I got a lot more videos like it. We got my best movies to fall asleep to 2022 and top 5 animes of 2022, along with some other nice reviews here. I guess good afternoon, good evening, and good night. We'll see you soon. Later. Here it goes. Oh my god. Stop it, Rob!